Welcome everyone, ITA341, and what we want to start getting into now is the CUSMA, Canada-US-Mexico Agreement, Rules of Origin. Now, I can't stress enough, you have to stop thinking of yourself as a customs broker clearing goods through customs. Your job now is from the perspective of someone who is working for a company who is going to be exporting to the United States, exporting to Mexico. Because what we're going to teach you here is to not only complete the necessary form that you need to fill out in order to certify that the good that you're exporting to the United States or Mexico qualifies for the Canada-US-Mexico Agreement, but also that you know how the good qualifies. I cannot stress to you enough, just because something's made in Canada or made in the United States or made in Mexico doesn't mean it qualifies for the Canada-US-Mexico Agreement. Just because it's made here doesn't mean it qualifies. You have to show proof that it qualifies. And how you show proof is you complete a certificate of origin and you state in field 7 the origin criteria. And what we're going to learn about today is origin criteria A. Okay? So, let me get back to the first slide here. When we prepare a CUSMA certificate to certify that our good qualifies, that we're sending to the United States or sending to Mexico, we want to make the certificate so that when our customer brings it in through U.S. Customs or Mexican Customs, he doesn't pay any duty. It's duty-free. We must state in field 7 of the certificate of origin which origin criteria our good qualifies. So I'll go back. Here's the certificate of origin, and here is field 7, origin criteria. Now, there are 4 origin criteria: A, B, C, and D. By the way, forget about this and symbol here. It should be just in field 7 of the certificate of origin. But there are 4 origin criteria that we worry about: A, B, C, and D. Today we're going to learn about A, but let's look at all 4 of them. So, A means wholly obtained or produced entirely in the territory of one or more of the parties. Remember, the territory is Canada, United States, Mexico. The parties are Canada, United States, and Mexico. Okay? B means produce entirely in the territory of one or more of the parties using non-originating materials. We learned what non-originating materials are. We learned what non-originating means, and we learned what materials were last week as well. Provided the good satisfies all applicable requirements of the product-specific rules of origin. Now, this is the difficult one. We'll do this one last. Today we're going to do B, but there's 2 other ones. There is C, produced entirely in the territory of one or more of the parties exclusively from originating materials. And we'll talk about C later. And D, produced entirely in the territory of one or more of the parties, but there are issues regarding the HS system and the general interpretive rules. Remember, I told you we had to remember the HS system, we had to remember the general interpretive rules. But today, we are going to talk about and examine A, wholly obtained or produced. Okay? So origin criteria A means wholly obtained or produced entirely in the territory of one or more of the parties. There are 2 types of goods or materials. Remember, a good can become a material. A good is the item that you're shipping to another country, but that good could be used by another company to make something else. Therefore, that good becomes a material. So there's 2 types of goods / materials who qualify under origin criteria A. The first is wholly obtained in the territory of one or more of the parties. Wholly obtained means we gathered, okay, or wholly produced in the territory of one or more of the parties. Wholly obtained means the goods and materials that are naturally occurring in Canada, the United States, and Mexico. And when I mean naturally occurring, that means grown, mined, harvested, something that's natural, that originates out of the ground in Canada, the United States, or Mexico. Okay. Wholly produced mean goods or materials that are produced in Canada, the United States, or Mexico. Okay. So they're produced, they're made. So produced means manufactured, assembled, etc. And Canada, the United States, or Mexico is the territory. So this week we're going to talk about wholly obtained. So we're doing origin criteria A, wholly obtained. Wholly produced we will talk about next week. So this week is wholly obtained, goods and materials that are naturally occurring in Canada, Mexico, or the United States. Now remember something. In order for something to be called naturally occurring, it has to fall under one of the rules that's set out in the Kuzma agreement for wholly obtained, and we're going to go through those now. So, origin criteria A, goods wholly obtained, goods that are naturally occurring. So, one of the items might be a mineral good or other naturally occurring substance extracted or taken from Canada, United States, or Mexico. So, an example would be any material, any mineral from a mine, underground or above ground mine. So you could have iron ore, gold, nickel, copper, potash, anything that comes out of a mine in Canada, in Mexico, and the United States automatically qualifies for the Canada-US agreement, a Mexico agreement, and is preference origin criteria A. Oil from an oil rig in Canada. The oil comes out of the ground, therefore it is a mineral, therefore it qualifies. Or sand, gravel, and soil from the United States. Again, taken out of the ground, it's naturally occurring. So let's take a look here at the Kuzma certificate. And I've got the first item here is an example. We've got iron ore from mining. Okay, the HS tariff classification as preference origin criteria A, and the country of origin is Canada. It's A because it's wholly obtained. It's natural. You don't have to do anything. Just pull it out of the ground. If that mine is in Canada, United States, or Mexico, it automatically qualifies. Okay, so let's give another example. A plant good, vegetable, fungus, cultivated, harvested, or picked, or gathered in Canada, United States, or Mexico. So some examples here would be lettuce grown in California, United States, wheat grown in Canada, fruits grown in Mexico, flowers grown in Mexico. So this is any plant, so it'd be fruit, vegetable, vegetation, flowers, trees, anything that's grown in Canada, United States, and Mexico automatically qualifies, and we can put it on the Canada-US Mexico Agreement certificate. And here we have the second item here, which is lettuce for salads. It's origin criteria A, and it's country. This particular example is country origin US. This is just examples. I just want to show you that these are all items that would be considered naturally occurring, wholly obtained. Okay, let's go back. So now, another example would be a live animal born and raised in Canada, the United States, or Mexico that we're shipping to the United States or shipping to Mexico. It automatically qualifies as being wholly obtained, origin criteria A. Example, you have a horse born and raised in the United States, pigs born and raised in Canada, dogs and cats born and raised in Mexico, shipped to any other country, Canada, United States, or Mexico. These goods automatically qualify. They are wholly obtained. They're naturally occurring. And their origin criteria A. And here we have the example here, live horses, origin criteria A. Okay. By the way, this video is probably going to be in two parts, so bear with me. Okay. A good obtained from a live animal in Canada, United States, or Mexico. Some examples: horse meat taken from horses in the United States, pork products from pigs in Canada, chicken legs from chickens in Mexico. So these are naturally occurring. It's the horses, the pigs, and the chickens were in Canada, United States, and Mexico, and they were processed into a good in Canada, United States, and Mexico. These are wholly obtained. They're naturally occurring. And on our certificate, we've got chicken legs, and you see it's origin criteria A. Okay, continue on. We've got an animal obtained by hunting, trapping, or fishing, or capturing in Canada, United States, or Mexico. Some examples: if you're a hunter and you come up to Canada and you shoot a deer, that deer automatically qualifies for the Canada-US-Mexico agreement. It's duty-free, origin criteria A, because it's wholly obtained. Rabbit shot by a hunter in the United States, and fish caught by a tourist fisherman in Mexico. If you're bringing them back to anywhere inside North America, they're origin criteria A. They're wholly obtained. And in our example, we've got we don't have anything on. Oh no, pardon me. We have rabbit carcasses. So we have someone went and shot some rabbits. Those are origin criteria A. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to part 2 now, where we'll talk about some other examples of goods wholly obtained, origin criteria A, and then we'll go through some examples.